Hi there. So, what we're going to do for this newsletter is something slightly new. I've gathered together a series of questions that I've been asked recently, which I thought would be quite fun to maybe do this video recording of, and so you guys could see my answers. As you know, you can see right here we have the festive look going on behind me. So you can gather this is just before Christmas. Anyway, let's get on with these questions. So really interesting, it's really made me sort of have to think here. So first question, this is really in two parts. So the question is, when you made the transition into full-time writing, were you scared? Yes. Yeah, there's a short answer. My background, going right back, for over 20 years I worked in computer games as both an artist and an art director, and great period of my life, but I got to that moment where I thought I really want to go for my writing, so that's what I did in 2006. Now at that point I had co-founded an award-winning studio, and we were doing really well, international number ones, so pretty much the height of my career in computer games. So to make that transition to like the scary world of being a writer was a big step, but I have to say that was a decision I've never regretted making. I have had a ball being a writer. Now my advice for anybody who wants to make that transition across to writing full time is maybe not do it full time straight away. Maybe start off doing it in spare time, find your sort of like writing style, your author's voice, and then maybe when you're ready for it, make that transition. Me, no, I don't do things by halves. I just leapt in with both feet and really went for it. But do remember, it took me 7 years to get that first publishing deal. Yes, really. Okay, so second question. What's the one thing you wish someone would have told you before you went to writing full time? Maybe not to get too anxious about that initial feedback. When you are working particularly with an editor and you have written the best thing that you think you've ever sort of written, and you send it off, I mean, you can imagine how I was feeling to get that first set of feedback from an editor. And when it came, there's really good positive stuff, but if you're like me, I sort of always, if I get an email, but yes, this is great, this is great, this is great, what I do immediately is I skip right down to all the and this maybe needs some work. So when you're really learning the craft of becoming an author, it's very easy to just lose perspective about what you've done well and actually really latch on to the negative feedback. Well, it's not negative feedback, it's constructive feedback, and it feels like you're sort of leaning into a headwind. You really got to just view it for what it is. It's really useful feedback that is going to make you a better writer in the long run. I did eventually learn that lesson and really start to understand that, but it was hard not to feel that I was going backwards quite often, and maybe I was, but that's all part of the journey to becoming a writer. Okay, next question. Where do your ideas come from? How do you find inspiration when there is none? Now, this is something personally I've never had a problem with. I think it's maybe because I come from the games industry and I always did a lot of this sort of thing, creating ideas in the game industry, creating ideas for books. And I have notebooks filled with ideas. It's something that I'm never short of having a good idea for something. Well, I say a good idea. I put all these ideas down to a notebook. Some ideas might make it through to a book. Many are just live there on that page. And the what I look for when I've got a flash of inspiration is, what idea keeps nagging me to be born and turned into a book. It's often those that really just won't leave you alone ideas that you put the effort into. So where that inspiration comes from, I think, like most people, when I'm running workshops in schools particularly, I am always telling the students, to be a great writer, you need to be a great reader. So consume everything you can as a writer. Surround yourself, immerse yourself in the sort of things that you love to write about. Watch Netflix, whatever. Go to the cinema. Go travelling. I'm a great one, as you may have seen from some of my newsletters, who I'm somebody who really passionately believes in travelling, partly to expand my own worldview and my experience of life, and it's very enriching, and sometimes those things come through in my writing. Okay, next question. Favourite film of all time? I think we're going to make this the last question for this session, and we'll return to this maybe on a regular basis in other newsletters. But anyway, back to the question. Favourite film of all time? This is something I've thought long and hard about, and I have a clear favourite. And it's both the original Blade Runner and the newer 2049 film. Both absolutely fantastic. I think, I saw Blade Runner at a really sort of critical age, and it just sort of literally blew my mind as to what great sci-fi storytelling visually, based of course on the Philip K. Dick amazing book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and that haunting soundtrack of Vangelis, and they put in the original film, all put together into something which was, it just haunts me as a film. I think it's ultimately it's a story about what it is to be human, even though it deals with replicants. But I think, as is often the way, the great fiction, science fiction or whatever, holds up a mirror sometimes to us, so we sort of look at ourselves and maybe sort of ponder a few things, and I think it's a tour de force in cinema. And the recent film is a tremendous book. Blade Runner is one bookend, 2049 is definitely the other end of that bookend, and together, the little subtle references in that second film to the first are wonderful, and it feels like a very complete narrative. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, I think I've probably rambled enough and taken enough of your sort of time. So if you like this, I'll maybe make this a regular thing. Okay, all the best and have a great Christmas. Okay.